Coming up on Backyard Science, how wriggling worms turn into the magicians of the underground.
Using yeast to explode a balloon.
And how to shatter a ruler with a single sheet of newspaper. Hoist away, how to get a heavy flower pot heading skywards.
Find out what stops an iceberg from sinking to the bottom of the sea.
And how to sort out the good eggs from the bad.
But first, lifting heavy objects can be downright dangerous.
You might drop something nasty on your toe, or you could even injure your back.
So when there's an emergency lifting job to be done, don't put your back into it. Maybe think about using your brains instead.
Oh dear, Mum's precious African violets. They look really sick. She asked John and me to look after them while she was away. They seem to be wet enough. What are we going to do? Maybe they need more sun. We'll have to get this pot onto the balcony. It'll get sun all day there. Come on, give us a hand. This is too heavy. What's he up to? This is a good idea. We've got to get help lifting it. I know. I know exactly how we can get the pot onto the trolley.
Oh, I'm going camping and I've got to fix my torch. I know the batteries are brand new. I'll make them touch the globe. No. I know, I'll take the globe out. Straight on the battery. It's all dead. Maybe Ty knows what's going on. What is she on about? Oh, there's a connection I need to make.
That avalanche was such an awesome sight. And it looks so cool when all that ice floats in the water. Floats? Hey, why doesn't it just all sink to the bottom? I'm gonna look into this. I guess the best way to start is by collecting some seawater. It's not to drink. It's way too salty. This water is for weighing. Right. 640 grams. Now let's see how the fresh water weighs up. 596 grams. That's 44 grams lighter than the salt water. I guess that has something to do with why the ice floats.
It sure does. Ice is always frozen fresh water, even if it's come from the sea, because salt doesn't freeze. So ice can float in the ocean because it's much lighter than the dense salty water surrounding it. That means icebergs are made of fresh water, which explains why they float instead of sinking straight to the bottom. Here's a cool way to work out whether your eggs are fresh or a little past their bed. One by one, put the eggs in the water. Some will float and some will sink. But why is this so? Well, it's probably because the floating eggs are lighter than the sinkers. There must be something lifting the floaters up. I wonder if what's making them float is the same thing that's making them rotten.
An eggshell has about 17,000 tiny pores on its surface. The reason an egg goes bad is because bacteria get into these tiny pores and generate gas there. These thousands of pores also taking smells and flavours from the outside air. Cooks sometimes store eggs with onions and truffles, so the egg can absorb the flavour.
Oh, these are the rotten ones, and they've sure got a flavour that can only be called rotten egg gas. Oh, if I had to put up with the smell of rotten eggs, I'd be getting them as far away from me as possible.
That's all very well, Dana, but if you've got a mighty big flower pot, then getting it somewhere else is easier said than done.
We've got to get this pot onto the balcony so these poor old flowers get plenty of sun before Mum comes home. This is how we're going to get our heavy pot onto the trolley. We did it!
Priscilla and John are using the plank as a lever. It's balanced on the bricks on a point called a fulcrum. The fulcrum is taking most of the flower pot's weight. That lets Priscilla use the plank as a lever, making the load much easier to lift.
We did it! Uh-oh, we'll never get the pot up there. Now what?
My buddy Ty's had a bright idea for finding out how to get my torchlight bulb working. We're going to cut up aluminium foil into strips, then fold them for strength. One end wrapped around the metal side of the light bulb, the other end underneath the battery. Now I'll put the bottom end of the bulb on the other end of the battery. And we have light! Ty's a genius!
What Sophie and Ty have made is a simple electrical circuit. Metals like the foil act as conductors. Conductors allow electricity to flow so that it completes the circuit.
Now that's given me a brilliant idea.
I love watching things float on water. Leaves do it. Sometimes I see insects as well. I wish I could walk on water, but my feet aren't up to it. Although some creatures have feet that are made for walking on water. And I'm going to make an insect to find out how they do it. I'm going to need water and thin metal foil folded in half. I trace around a cutout of 3 insect-shaped legs on the folded foil. Unfold and cut around the edges. And there's my water-walking insect. Pour some water in a bowl. Now if I put my insect on the water carefully enough, it works. I blow it around and it stays on top. It's as though there's a skin on the water.
The skin is actually the water molecules themselves. Because of surface tension, they bind together strongly enough to support Blake's insect.
I've seen some insects scoot along the top of the water. I'm going to try something. If I fold the tail down to the water too, then I get a drop of dishwashing detergent and dab it on the tail of my insect. It shoots off.
That's because the detergent breaks down the surface tension of the water behind the insect, creating a force that makes it move.
Now, if I could only try and balance my hands and legs slowly enough on the water. Well, that sure broke the tension.
I wonder if we can separate the foil with water and see if electricity still travels through it. So I'll put one end of the foil strip in the water and the other end under the battery, and another strip with one end in the water and the other around the globe, and link them up. No, it's not working at all. The water's not conducting electricity. Back to the genius. She's off. What? Salt? Oh, it's fizzing. Will it light the bulb though? No. Yes, it's shining.
What happened was the electricity could complete the circuit because of salt in the water. Salt is a conductor. All that fizz in the water happens because water is made of hydrogen and oxygen. And when the electrical current goes through the salt water, some of the water breaks down. And that releases hydrogen gas at the battery end and oxygen gas at the light bulb end.
So my torch just needed better connections. Thanks to Ty for shedding some light on that one.
Now they're what I call two pretty switched on girls.
And I reckon Priscilla and John are pretty switched on too. Bet you it won't be long before they come up with a brilliant way of getting that flower pot up on the balcony.
First, we'll need some rope like this. We'll grab one of those pulleys. Then we're set. First, John's going to tie the rope around the pot. He's knotting it to make it really secure. I'll attach the pulley to the roof of the balcony and make it really tight, while John throws the rope under the pot and crosses it over as though he's tying a parcel. Next, attach a long piece of rope to this and double knot it so it's really strong. I'll catch the other end. I'll thread it through the pulley and tie a strong knot. We're ready to go. Okay, pull! Come on, move! Oh, it's no good. It's still too heavy. There's got to be a way to lift that flower pot onto that balcony. John's got another pulley. It's just the same as the first one. I wonder how that's going to help. How can we use both pulleys? Aha! Tie them together. Let's try. John's putting the rope through the pulley, and I'll grab the other end. Through the pulley, and now I'll pull. It's coming up! I'll keep pulling, and pulling. Hang on a minute, this is the tricky bit. Ease it down. John and I did it.
Pulleys work by giving you a mechanical advantage. That means that you can lift very heavy weights because each pulley the rope goes through helps take some of the weight.
Oh no! Mum knew her African violets were finished and was going to replant them anyway.
Wriggly, creepy, crawly things oozing out of the earth. Some people think worms are creepy and slimy, but I think they're magicians. They turn bad soil into good soil. But I don't know how they do it. And I really want to find out. Hang on. I wonder if they do their best soil fixing magic at night. Maybe they prefer the day. I'd better find out. I'm going to make a box where worms can choose whether or not they want to be in the light. I need a shoebox, a roll of kitchen paper, some water spray, and some strong sticky tape. I'll cut a hole in one end of the lid of my shoebox, then rip off some paper towel and put it on the bottom of the box for the worms to lie on. A spray of water so they don't dry out. And then I'll tape a sheet of cardboard across the box. Hey, Mr. Worms, fancy helping me out with some research? Come on, little fellas. I'll put them in one end of the box, pop on the lid, turn on the torch at the worm end. If the worms stay under the light, I'll know they're like daylight. If they try to get away, I'll know they're night crawlers.
Jen's pretty smart. I'll see if she can do the ruler dance. Give the end a flick, and watch it go disco dancing. Jen's turn. Whoa, she's got the vibe. Told you she was smart. Okay, a tougher challenge. I'll see if she can break this ruler with a sheet of newspaper. Aha! She's going for brute force. Nope, the ruler's too tough. I'll give her a hint. Use the flat surface of the table. Nice try, Genevieve, but no prize. Okay, a little demo is called for. Lay the ruler here, with about 1/3 hanging over the edge. Now I'll put the sheet of newspaper out flat, and lay it over the ruler. Now watch this. Hard and quick.
The ruler broke because Tyler banged hard on one side, while the other side was pinned down not just by the newspaper, but by the weight of the atmosphere pressing down on the whole sheet of newspaper. Because the atmosphere is more than 100 kilometers thick, this sheet of newspaper has more than 4 tons of air pressing down on it. Enough to hold one end of the ruler down when Tyler hit it.
Jen's turn. Yay, a quick learner. Challenge completed.
And for the next amazing performance from Sophie's funky bag of tricks, how to make the temperature of steel wool increase without you even touching it. Measure the temperature of the air inside a large jar. You'll need to leave the thermometer inside for a few minutes with the lid on. While that's waiting, pour vinegar all over another piece of steel wool. Wait for a couple of minutes. While that's waiting, the temperature in the glass jar should be ready to measure. Sure is 21 degrees. Put the vinegar-soaked steel wool inside the jar with a thermometer. Wait a couple of minutes. Wait another couple. Maybe a bit longer. Ho-hum. Feels warm. Okay, let's see. Wow! 32 degrees. It's gone up 11 degrees.
The steel wool got hotter because it started to rust. Acid in the vinegar stripped the steel clean. It then combined with oxygen in the air to give off heat energy, which made the temperature rise and the steel wool rusty.
Ew, that's gross.
That trick was so cool. Hot, I mean. Can't wait to see what else Sophie's got hidden away in her funky bag of tricks.
Well, I can't wait to see whether Lucas's worms prefer living in the light or in the dark.
Aha! So my worms are all at the dark end. They're night crawlers after all. If I want to see how my worms turn bad soil into good soil, I'll have to trick them into coming out during the day.
Earthworms have no eyes in their heads, but they are able to sense light, and they try to avoid it.
So if I want to get my worms out in daylight, I'll have to use some magic myself. I've heard that worms don't like detergent. So if I get it down into the soil, they'll come to the top to get away from it. It worked. Hello, Mr. Worm. You'll need a rinse after that soapy shower. I'd better not let them dry out too much, so I'll pop them into a jar and get them out of the sun. Right, I think I've got enough. These fellas are getting a new home. Don't worry, my slimy little friends. Soon you'll be back to turning bad soil into good, and right where I can see you do it.
People say this dry powder is alive. Yeah, right. It's called yeast. I'm sure it doesn't look very alive, but you never know. So I'm going to put it to the test with this balloon. Here goes. First I measure out a handful of yeast. Then I tip some of the yeast into the balloon. Spoonful of sugar, down the hatch. About half a cup of water. Tie a knot. And see if this yeast is going to come alive. Whoa! It's taking on a life of its own. It's growing bigger and bigger and...
Mix yeast with sugar and water and it starts to act like an organism. It uses sugar and oxygen in the balloon to produce a gas called carbon dioxide. The more gas, the bigger the balloon. This is why bakers use yeast in bread. It feeds on the dough and creates bubbles of carbon dioxide, making the bread rise.
Now this is how I like my yeast to come alive. It's created the world's biggest sandwich. Well, too big for my mouth anyway.
Lucas and I are pretending to be agents on a secret mission. We're looking for a plant that defies the laws of nature. The imaginary upside-down plant. The leaves grow down, the roots grow up. I think I've found it. Back to the secret incubator. Our mission is to grow the amazing upside-down plant ourselves. Brilliant! Over there, that's a good spot. Right, the secret ingredients. Cup, jar of water, absorbent paper. Let's go to work. Pop in the seed. Add water. Now we'll keep this in a warm, safe place. And wait, it'll take a few days. Right, plant, spill your upside down secret. Hey, it didn't grow upside down. We kept it moist, we kept it warm, and still the leaves grow up and the roots grow down. Oh, spy!
You idiot. Plants don't grow upside down. The stems gather the sunlight, so they always grow towards the sun. The roots search for water, so they always grow down. Plants will always head for light and water, no matter how you plant them.
All right. So there are no upside-down plants.
What sort of crazy plant are they looking for now? Losers?
Poor old Lucas and Ben. I think they've got a bit to learn about plants.
Maybe, Dana, but Lucas is well on his way towards working out how those worms do their magic.
I'm going to find out how my worms turn ordinary dirt into good soil. First, I need to make them feel right at home. I've got a frame with blocks of wood nailed together. Now, I'll need some plastic sheets so I can see what's going on. I'll tape them onto the frame. And the other side, same thing. Perfect. Now for my different types of dirt. I've got sand, gravel and soil. First in is the layer of soil. Make sure there's some water for the worms, then the layers. Soil, sand, gravel. Oh, look at the cool patterns. Now, into your new home, fella. And your buddies. No home is complete without food, so in go leaves and grass. Now go to it, my little soil magicians. Well, my little worm buddies have been in their new home for a couple of days now. I wonder how they're going. Wow, they've dug in all right. There are so many tunnels. Some of them have almost hit rock bottom. And look, they're dragging the layers down.
That's why worms are the world's best gardeners. They break down the dead plant matter on the surface. They tunnel down, which lets air into the soil. And as they go, they mix together different layers of soil and plant matter. Worms don't have jaws or teeth. They suck in soil and plant matter. They absorb all that goodness, then deposit their poo at the surface, which makes great fertilizer.
Aha! So now I know how worms turn bad soil into good. My little magicians.
Ah, these magical worms. I knew they'd come good in the end.
And speaking of ends, we've come to the end of another yard sign.
See you next time.
You're just...
up on Backyard Science, trying our hand at some robotic hijinks.
Hitting the right note with a common garden hose.
And don't adjust your sets. There's really nothing up with this picture. How to get your football team into tip-top shape.
How to impersonate a chicken.
And build a brilliant racing beetle.
But first, time to polish the boots, pump up the football.
And hire a coach who's on top of the game.
Ready? Take a deep breath and...
Soccer season's just around the corner. Our team's got to win this year. I'm coach and the team wants me to get them in tip-top condition. Oh no, they're all puffed out already. We have to build up those lungs. Get down and give me 20. No, not push-ups, 20 deep breaths. I'm gonna have to show these guys how their lungs work. Put your hand on your stomach. Breathe without moving your hand. That's filling your lungs just with your chest muscles. Now breathe, moving your hand up and down. See? That's using your stomach muscles. You get more air in. Now, our big challenge. We're gonna find out whose lungs can fill up the most.
I set my buddy Ty over there a challenge. She's got to figure out a way to pick up that cup of water and move it to the other side of the table without using her hands. I don't think so. I'll give her a hint. Would using this balloon make it any easier? Wrong. I don't believe this. Over to moi. Ty didn't realise that air pressure could give her a helping hand. Here's what I call Sophie's brilliant balloon sucking trick.
As Sophie inflates her balloon, it expands against the cup's rim. No air can get in or out. Then, as the balloon gets bigger, its surface becomes flatter, reducing the space it takes up in the cup. That lowers the inside air pressure, and the cup is forced to grip more tightly to the balloon.
Once you've mastered my clever trick, it's possible to do it with other cups. That way, I can move more than one cup to the other side of the table without using my hands. Pity Ty couldn't rise to the challenge.
I'm going to show you how to make my world-famous, friction-powered, bustling beetle. First, I take a piece of thick cardboard. I trace around my beetle shape, then I cut it out. Next, think I'll make it look like a ladybird. Pretty good, hey? Now I cut 2 pieces of a drinking straw, about this length. Here's the important bit. The straws must be angled so they form a slight V shape. I get some sticky tape and stick the lengths of straw to the back of my beetle. Now I add some legs using pipe cleaners. Stick on some eyes, and my beetle is ready to go. Now thread some string around a post. Pass the string through each of the straws. To make my beetle move, I pull it backwards and forwards on the string like this. My beetle is off and running!
The friction between the straws and the moving string creates enough force to make Blake's beetle move along. The faster Blake pulls the strings through the straws, the faster the beetle goes.
Yes! My friction-powered beetle is heading for the winning post.
Margot is too busy eating her way through a mountain of boiled eggs for breakfast to come out and play. What I need to do is distract her. I'll pretend a mother hen's come looking for those eggs. All I need is a plastic cup, a length of string, a small sponge, a toothpick and some water. First, I'll poke a hole in the bottom of the cup
I'll put the string through the hole and tie one end of it to the toothpick.
Oh, this is yummy.
Might as well make this brilliant invention look like a chicken too. Maybe some chicken claws will help. Then I'll wet the sponge. I reckon this is all I need to make Margot give up her boiled eggs and come out to play.
Up there for thinking, Ben. Can't wait to see what he does with that chicken.
And I can't wait to see how our backyard science football team is shaping up for the start of the soccer season.
Lung power is what's going to help our soccer team win this season. Using this bottle, we'll see whose lungs can hold the most air. Fill up a 2-litre soft drink bottle with water. Tip it upside down in a tub of water. While it's underwater, stick a tube through the opening. Priscilla first. As you breathe out, the air in your lungs will push the water out of the bottle. First time, use just your chest muscles. Blow. And this is how much air you had in your lungs. Now, do it again. This time, use your chest muscles and your stomach muscles. I'll refill the bottle. Big breath. Hold it. Hey, what a difference. A lot more air in your lungs. Who thinks they can beat Priscilla? Okay, Lucas, have a go. Use all your muscles. Hey, you blew all the water out of the bottle. Sonam's next. Go! Not the winner, but not bad. Okay, Joseph, fancy your chances? Wow, you emptied the bottle in no time. You're the Puff Power winner. Now, come on. I'll let you into the secret of increasing the amount of air your lungs can breathe in.
Look at how straight that torchlight is. So's mine. I wonder if light ever bends. Let's try and make it. I've got an idea. Shine your torch into a mirror. That isn't bending. The light's being bounced off the mirror at an angle, but it's still shining at a straight line. We need something to make the light bend, and I think I know how to do it. I'll need a funnel because this is going to involve water. Some plasticine to fill gaps, then some black paint and an empty drink bottle. Poke a hole in the bottom, shove a straw in, seal it up. Now, let's paint the front half of the bottle black. How's that going to help? It's going to stop the light escaping. Straw too. See, the back half is still clear. Put the tray there to catch the water. Now you hold the funnel. I think I know how you're going to do this. You watch while I shine a torch from behind through the water in the bottle. Yes! The light's bending as the water goes over your finger.
As John shines his torch through the unpainted back of the bottle, the light is reflected many, many times as it travels through the water. When the water pours out of the straw, the light follows the flow and looks as if it's bending.
That's how we made light bend.
Alex and I always fight over who gets the tip. This time he's not gonna win. I have a plan. Whoever makes those 2 empty cans roll together, using just these straws and the cans, gets the tips. You'll never work it out. Here's how it's done. Line up some straws on a table. put 2 empty drink cans on top. Blow between the 2 cans. Look what happens.
Blowing between the cans reduces the air pressure between them. Then the air on the outer sides of the cans pushes them together.
Looks like I'm the winner. Hey!
Strange? That sounds like a chicken clucking. Maybe I've been eating too many eggs. See? I'm sure I heard something. Oh well. I did hear it! There's a chicken somewhere!
When Ben moves the wet sponge up and down the string, it grips a little, then slips. That makes the string vibrate. You can change the sound by pulling the string faster or slower, making the chicken sound louder or not.
Oh, hi Margot. Do you fancy coming out to play now? I don't think so. I think I've eaten too many eggs. I'm off for a lie down.
Poor old Ben. I think that's what's called counting your chickens before they hatch.
Yep, but planning ahead is half the battle, as our backyard science soccer team is finding out.
Gather round, team. Winners have got to have lung power. And I'm going to make something to show you how our lungs work. Take a garden hose joiner. This balloon will be one lung. This will be the other. There are our lungs. Here's the air pipe. Make them all airtight. Now, pop them in the chest cavity. Seal up the air pipe. One more balloon. That's our diaphragm. When you breathe in, the diaphragm goes down, making your lungs fill up with air. When you breathe out, up comes the diaphragm, squashing the air out of your lungs.
Your lungs aren't muscles. They rely on other muscles surrounding them to make them work. That's why keeping fit increases your lung power.
Come on, team, let's get exercising. Give me 20. No, silly. This time I mean 20 push-ups. Excellent work, team.
My friends here think they're pretty clever. In computer land, they're the masters of their domain. But I'm going to see how good they are with a challenge that'll force them to think outside their cyber world. Sorry guys, back to reality. I've got some basic materials for you. Cardboard, rulers, plastic straws, string, rubber bands, scissors, tape and pencils. And the test is, you have to pick up this can without touching it with your hands. So brain power is going to be your most useful raw material. And things aren't looking good in that department. You may be here for a while. You guys are supposed to be great operators. You've got to think bigger. Okay, here's a hint. Give yourself a hand. Get it? Build yourself a hand. A robot hand. The answer's right there in front of you. Maybe not.
This show is so boring. Even if I stand on my head, it still looks... Hey, wait a minute. It actually looks really good from this angle. I think I know how to create my own small screen action. I need a magnifying glass, white cardboard, and the lights out. Now, my idea is to try and project the picture onto the cardboard. If I move the glass back and forward, what happens on my homemade screen? Yes, I did it! My own upside-down TV show. This works because when light shines through a magnifying glass, it's refracted or bent. So much so that by the time it comes out the other end, it's been turned upside down.
Now how is that for one pretty bent idea? Hey, leave some for me! Great, thanks a lot. We're lucky there's a shop just up the road. But what if we were stranded on a desert island? All that water out there, and we can't drink a drop of it. A quick dash home and I'll show you what I found. I've got an idea to make salt water drinkable. I've got a roll of plastic wrap, tape, a handful of pebbles, and a bucket. Collect some seawater, place a cup in the middle, anchor it down with the pebbles, and cover tightly with plastic wrap. Next, place a stone on the top so it forms a well in the plastic over the cup. Now all we've got to do is fill in some time. Okay, let's see if we've got water to quench our hard-earned thirst. Wow, our homemade tank is full of beautiful, fresh water.
The heat of the sun evaporates the water in the bucket, but it has nowhere to go because it's trapped by the plastic. When this happens, condensation droplets form and eventually fall down into the cup. The salt in the seawater doesn't evaporate at the same rate, so it gets left behind in the bucket.
Yum! I reckon we'd have a pretty good chance on a desert island.
Ooh, I've always wanted to be stranded on a desert island. I'll have to remember that little survival technique.
And speaking of survival, I wonder how Priscilla and Lucas are standing up to Ben's no hands challenge.
My two friends here are struggling at the moment. I've set them a challenge. They have to work out how to pick up the can without using their hands. They need to build a robot hand. Looks like Lucas has an idea. Okay, he's cut some small pieces of cardboard and now he's joining them together with tape. I see they're the joints of the finger. He's really thinking hard about this. I hope they can pull it off. Now they're joining the 3 cut-out fingers to a square of cardboard. Rubber bands, very clever. They'll work just like tendons to control the movement of their hands. Aha! Their hand is finally beginning to take shape. Now they're attaching string to each finger so they can maneuver their robot hand.
Robots are machines designed to make our lives easier. They can carry out a wide range of tasks that are repetitious, boring, difficult, or too dangerous for people to perform. Robots are programmed to perform anything from sheep shearing to car manufacturing. But it's not all about hard work. They also get some fun jobs as well.
It looks very handy, but will this robotic masterpiece stand up to the challenge?
When Mum goes out, I blast the music and go off at my own private dance club. Hope the neighbours can't hear this. Which gives me a thought. I wonder how the ear actually works. It starts with a drum, so by covering a cylinder with plastic wrap, I have a homemade eardrum ready to play. Next I need to roll up some cardboard. This will be like the outside of our ear, and being a funnel, it's the perfect shape for sending sound into. Now we need a cardboard screen so we can see our sound in motion. Place it in front of the eardrum and shine a torch onto the plastic. Perfect! The light is projecting the image of the crinkly plastic onto the screen. Now I'm set. Watch this. Look at the sound moving the plastic eardrum.
It's that movement or vibration that makes hearing possible. When sound enters the ear, it causes the eardrum to vibrate. This vibration travels to the inner ear where a signal is sent to the brain and the sound is registered.
While I'm seeing sound, I bet the neighbours are seeing red.
Not that clarinet again. Right, that's it. Time to fight back. And I've got just the thing. My plan isn't quite coming together. I know. What about something on the end to make it easier to blow? Music to annoy with. But wait, I can do better. Let's see if I can turn up the volume a bit. Excellent. A working hosophone.
To make sound, you have to have vibration. The clarinet relies on a reed in the mouthpiece to make the air vibrate. And in the hosophone's case, it's the lips that work to cause the vibrations. As the sound waves leave the instruments, they're amplified through the funnel.
See? 2 can play at this game. Now my revenge is complete.
The hosophone. That's one instrument that doesn't wash with me.
Yep, I think someone should have turned the hose on Sophie for that. Now time for the gripping conclusion to Ben's robotic challenge.
It's almost 3 hours since I dared Priscilla and Lucas to pick up a can without using their hands. I'm starting to think I should never have opened my mouth. But they haven't given up. Now they're cutting straws into small pieces. I wonder if they'll use them to give the hand grip. And now Priscilla's threading string through the straws. Can't say I see how that's gonna work. Yes, they have movement. But it's not enough to crank this hand into action. Back to finger building. With all 3 fingers complete, it's starting to look like the real deal.
Very few robots resemble humans. That's mainly the stuff of movies. In reality, most are robotic arms that lift or move objects. They have joints just like human arms and hands. But there's one big difference. They never get sore muscles or stop for a break.
It's time to put your robot to work. So far, so good. Oh no! It's slipping! Yes! Woohoo! Sensational! Brilliant! High 5! High 3.
That was a real brain bender, but they got there in the end.
Speaking of which, we're all out of time.
See you soon.